Okay, the first up, we have the Central Hardin Ag Issues Team. They're out in the hallway. You want to go ahead, skip around? Sure, we'll do that first. That'll give them plenty of times. Have you all had time to read the minutes?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, want to do the Chamber of Commerce update first? Do we have anybody here for that?
We're gonna get to
Alright.
Bo Bryant first.
What
Feel
about
our
that? Yeah, he's on his way. He needs to get out there to, Bo, you wanna do your proclamation? So you can go out to the, come on up. We're gonna let Mr. O'Brien, since you all weren't quite ready, give him a couple minutes and then we'll have you guys, okay? He needs to get to a big
You're fine
tennis
right there.
championship.
Okay, I'd like to thank the city Mayor Berger and for proclaiming May as Tennis Month. And we do this every year, and you have been very helpful in this. It's one way that we can get the information out there. We have part of the Tennis Month of May, why we picked May. So tennis is kicking off right now, actually right at 4:30, the high school regional tournament. They're in their second round of matches today, and they'll have the quarterfinals and semifinals tomorrow, and the finals will be Wednesday at Freeman Lake Tennis Complex. We began to sign people up for our summer activities. We have our block party, which is our kickoff morning at the lake from 10:30 to 12:30. There'll be May the 23rd. I hope to see some of you out there and come out, try to win some of the prizes we have, and also maybe get signed up for some things this year. Some of you keep telling me you're going to sign up. I'm waiting to get your name. I'm waiting to get your name on the registration form. I want to mention, and I think some of you know this, so recently, 2 years ago, we got a $4,000 grant from the USTA to help to do some things at Freeman Lake. That is almost finished. They're getting ready. Don told me they're getting ready to put the water fountain in this week. This week, we bought score posts, we bought flags, we bought trash cans with that $4,000. So, and we've added a lot of little things to make Freeman Lake just a little bit better. And of course, now you know, in 2014, you were the USTA Facility of the Year in the state of Kentucky. So we're just trying to up it a little bit more, and we might get that facility award again. Just last week, the USTA actually gave to the city another $10,000 grant to help redo American Legion courts. And I think that will be done over the next year with all the improvements that's going on at American Legion Park. It's going to be real good to see those tennis courts back to what I want to say is going to be like new tennis courts. They're going to look new. I hope everybody gets on board and we make them new. And again, I just want to thank you. I know, Ed, you have a proclamation now. I don't know if you want to read it. I'm not sure what you want to do. But again, I don't know, how much thanks we can give to the city and the city council, all the city workers, you know, a phone call away, and you make a phone call and they're ready to help you. And I want to pat everybody on the back, not from tennis, but by being out at the lake more. I want to let you know what we've got at Freeman Lake is just something that is special to the city of Elizabethtown. Now, I don't know how often you get to go out there, but yesterday afternoon, I mean, it was packed and all kinds of activities. Frisbee golf, dog walking, people fishing. We have a jewel sitting right here in the city of Elizabethtown. So I want to say thank you.
We sure do, Bowen. Listen, we want to thank you because what you've done for tennis in Elizabethtown is phenomenal, and every high school needs to thank you because I don't know what they do without what you've done. It was great, and we want to thank Habitat. Remember last year when Marty got those guys to come out and help with the building, and it's just a great example of everybody pulling together. And we are thrilled to proclaim May as Tennis Month.
And
Thank you.
now I know what you want to do.
Want
with
me
the
to
vote.
read it?
I'd like for you to.
Okay,
I'd like,
sure will.
hey, we get 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna leave out all the whereases, all right? Tennis is a fun and easy sport to learn and a great way to stay in shape. Playing tennis provides a strong foundation for fitness, helps develop coordination, flexibility, and strength, and fosters self-esteem and confidence. Participation in tennis has been proven to improve personal health and fitness in many ways involving lowering your blood pressure, burning calories, and lowering stress levels. There you go, Marty. Tennis is the sport of a lifetime where any person of any age or ability can play. And through the month of May 2015, citizens of the city of Elizabethtown will celebrate Tennis Month as an opportunity for individuals and families to learn more about the game of tennis and its many positive social and health benefits. Therefore, I, Edna Berger, Mayor of the city of Elizabethtown, do hereby proclaim May 2015 as Tennis Month in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and urge all citizens to work together to raise awareness of the game of tennis and maximize its social and health benefits by participating in the sport. Thank you very much, Bo.
I'd like to add one more thing. We do have a website, etowntennis.usta.com. You can get all the information about the summer programs there. And again, I want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Oh, I thought you wanted my copy of the proclamation. Okay, thank you. Okay, Megan Bishop. Okay, the Central Hardin Ag Issues Team. We're ready.
While they're getting in place, I just want to say thank you for letting us be here today. Just to give you a background of this, we actually came last year.
Yes.
Year before last, I think.
Came last year, didn't it?
And last year, we actually were fortunate enough to place third at the national competition.
Wow.
And so this year, the team has selected the waters of the U.S. as their topic. The purpose of an agriculture issues competition is for the team to select a controversial topic in agriculture, research both sides of the issue, present or make a 15-minute presentation that presents both sides of that issue. They're not allowed to ever take a stance on that. At the end, they're supposed to kind of leave with the audience as far as however you feel about it. And at state convention, which is in June, the judges are going to ask them a 6-minute round of questioning after it's over. And then at national convention, they actually ask them either a 7 or an 8-minute round of questioning. So as they're going through with their present, and there is a PowerPoint that usually goes with this. They don't need it. It's more just for the audience. So we're not going to have it today. Do we want to move that podium? Is that going to be in you guys' way, or
Can we scoot it forward some?
Sure.
Now, last year was the gas or the pipeline issue?
the pipeline?
Pipeline.
Yeah,
Yes, you were in our presentation last year.
yeah,
May 1st.
yes. They do a great job.
So anyways, if you have some questions as they're going through with the mic, jot those down. You can ask those after it's over. And then also after it's over, if you don't mind, we'd love to be able to get a picture with you, Mayor, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right, so I'm not going to introduce them because they're going to do it themselves. So whenever you all are ready, please.
Thank you.
The can opener was invented 48 years after the can was introduced.
So how would you easily open a can before there was a can opener?
Claude Levi-Strauss once said, "The scientist is not the one who gives the right answers. He's the one who asks the right questions."
So in theory, we are all scientists in some form or fashion. For instance,
What would happen if you took all the veins from your body and laid them out end to end?
You would die.
does light travel faster than sound?
Yes, that's why some people appear bright until they speak.
If science class was like this all the time, we would all have star days.
In more traditional science classes, though, we learn more about concepts such as heterogeneous versus homogeneous mixtures.
In a heterogeneous product, we can easily distinguish the different components within a mixture.
Even though the red and green apples are in the same container, you can clearly decipher which is which.
In a homogeneous mixture, the appearance is uniform, and so is the composition.
When the black and white paint is mixed, you can no longer distinguish one from the other.
Good afternoon. We are the Central Hardin FFA Agriculture Issues Team, consisting of
Anna,
Katrina,
Brian,
Aaron,
Ashton,
and myself, Rebecca, with our presentation, The
the waters of the U.S.
for us,
or against us.
The importance of water cannot be overstated when it comes to life on Earth. Over 70% of the earth is covered in water, and without it, there's simply no life. There are various life forms that can live on different levels of cleanliness in the water, but nothing living on earth can exist without it.
Possibly greater than the importance of water itself is the importance of clean water. Clean water is the nation's most valuable natural resource and is relied on for
Drinking, recreation,
Manufacturing,
energy development,
agriculture,
commercial fishing,
tourism,
and many other processes that are essential to public health and the economy.
Humans and various other life forms can live on different levels of cleanliness in their water, but wild changes in the type of water can severely affect any living thing. Increasing the contaminants and chemicals in water can throw the entire ecologies out of whack, killing the life within them.
The United States government recognized the need for continued focus on clean water over 60 years ago when Congress began assessing national water quality. Studies found that much of the nation's groundwater and surface water was contaminated or severely compromised, and that the three primary sources of water pollution, industry, agriculture, and municipalities, have been regularly discharging harmful materials into the nation's waters over a number of years.
The Federal Water Pollution Control Act of 1948 was the first major U.S. law to address water pollution. This law adopted principles of state and federal cooperative program development, limited federal finance assistance, and limited federal authority. These amendments were known as the Water Pollution Control Act of 1956 and the Clean Water Act of 1965. Growing public awareness for sweeping amendments in the water pollution in 1972 led to sweeping amendments, which the law became commonly known as the Clean Water Act. These amendments
establish the basic structure for regulating pollutant discharges into the waters of the United States,
gave EPA the authority to implement water pollution control programs such as setting wastewater standards for industry,
maintained existing requirements to set water quality standards for all contaminants in surface waters,
made it unlawful for any person to discharge any pollutant from a point source into a navigable water unless a permit was obtained under its provisions,
funded the construction of sewage treatment plants under the Construction Grants Program,
and recognized the need for planning to address critical problems posed by non-point source pollution.
The 1972 Clean Water Act also set a lofty goal of zero discharge of pollutants into the nation's waters by 1985. Congress passed related legislation at this time to ensure that its intent to cover all waters of the United States was clear. In 1972, Congress passed the Marine Protection, Research, and Sanctuaries Act, also known as the Ocean Dumping Act, and in 1974, the Safe Drinking Water Act.
Since 1972, the Clean Water Act has protected our health and environment by reducing the pollution in streams, lakes, rivers, wetlands, and other waterways. But over the past decade, interpretations have caused confusion about which waters and wetlands remain protected.
On March 25, 2014, the Environmental Protection Agency and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers jointly proposed the waters of the U.S. to provide clarity in exactly where the Clean Water Act applies. EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy
states that by taking action to reduce the uncertainties about the scope of the Clean Water Act, we can achieve real, cost-effective solutions to our nation's water quality challenges. Presently, 60% of our nation's streams and millions of acres of wetlands lack clear protection under the Clean Water Act.
The waters of the U.S. issued in March will reduce confusion about clean water protection. To clarify the types of water that are covered under the Clean Water Act, the proposed rule specifies that
most seasonal and rain-dependent streams are protected.
Wetlands, the rivers and streams are protected.
And other types of waters that may have more uncertain connections with downstream water and protection will be evaluated through a case-specific analysis of whether the connection is or is not significant.
Although the goal of this proposal may be to reduce confusion, many feel this created further uncertainty. In 2006, the Supreme Court made a ruling in the Rapinos versus United States, a case that challenged federal jurisdiction to regulate isolated wetlands covered under the Clean Water Act. John Rapinos sought to fill in 3 wetland areas on his property to build a shopping center, and the government brought a civil suit against him because his waters were technically covered under the CWA.
Rapinos argued before the district courts that the CWA gives the government jurisdiction to regulate only traditionally navigable waters. The government countered that Rapinos' lands were covered under the CWA as adjacent wetlands because the sites drained into man-made drains, which eventually emptied into navigable rivers and lakes.
The courts affirmed, holding that hydrological connection of wetlands into navigable waters qualifies them as waters of the United States under the Act, specifically because of
Significant nexus is a policy and legal determination based on a site-specific investigation and analysis of factors including soil, plants, and hydrology. The new proposal weighs the database analysis before regulating land use on or near most streams and wetlands. Agency staff then would only need to indicate more than a speculative or insubstantial impact to navigable water. Previously regulated water could be used to justify jurisdiction over similarly situated water without scientific analysis.
This open interpretation of waters under protection has caused many to raise concern. Pete Goodman, director for the Kentucky Division of Water, sent a letter to the EPA stating concerns on behalf of the Department for Environmental Protection. In this letter, Mr. Goodman says that the proposed rule creates further uncertainty, especially with jurisdictional waters. He says,
The division believes that this effort to clarify waters in the United States will expand the scope of jurisdictional waters from its current interpretation, which would result in more litigation and thus may be counterproductive.
He goes on to say that
The division believes the proposed provisions regarding other waters and significant nexus give the appearance of expanding the jurisdictional waters, or at the very least are unnecessarily vague.
Kentucky's Division of Water is not the only organization raising concerns over this broad jurisdiction. Christina Butts, Executive Director for the Legislative Affairs for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, stated in an interview that in our thoughts, all waters except swimming pools would need a permit in order for cattle to drink. This would include ponds, waterhole streams, and even ditches.
The agencies have recognized these concerns to the public and strive to clearly distinguish the specifications of the rule to provide clarification. Several aspects of what the rule does not do are stated on the EPA website. For instance, the
The
rule
rule does not protect new types of waters
Does not broaden coverage of the Clean Water Act.
and does not expand jurisdiction over ditches.
waters that have not historically been covered under the Clean Water Act will not be affected, and the proposed rule is consistent with the Supreme Court's more narrow reading of the jurisdiction. In an ad campaign called Ditch the Myth, the EPA states that the proposed rule will make normal farming practices easier while ensuring that waters are safe for human health, communities, and the economy.
While there are many things that the proposed rule does not do, one of the major things it does do is,
Help states protect their waters.
according to a study by the Environmental Law Institute, 36 states have legal limitations on their ability to fully protect waters that are not covered under the Clean Water Act. Approximately 117 million people, 1 in 3 Americans, get their drinking water from public systems that rely on seasonal, rain-dependent, and headwater streams. Helping states protect these sources of water is essential to our American nation.
farmers and agriculturists agree that protecting water is essential, but the waters of the U.S. rule does not do enough to clarify agricultural exemption. According to Pete Goodman, the final rule must provide clarity regarding exemptions for agricultural practices. He states that
The division provides a broad difference of agriculture practices, especially to the extent that waters in the United States may expand the scope of jurisdictional waters from agriculture areas that previously would not have been considered jurisdictional.
although the EPA is asserting that jurisdiction would not be expanded, there is massive confusion regarding types and timing of permits. For example, in what cases would farmers be required to file for permits, and what distinguishes a general permit from a federal permit?
In addition, the interpretive rule, which is a companion guidance to the proposed waters of the U.S. rule, has led to great uncertainties in the agriculture sector by creating lingering concerns about what activities do and do not qualify for agriculture exemption. Jamie Yonker, Vice President for the National Milk Producers Federation, states that
Our concern with the interpretive rule is that it could alter the long-standing and productive relationship between farmers and the USDA's Natural Resource Conservation Service in a way that will make it harder for farmers to implement conservation measures.
overall, the agriculture industry feels that the proposed rule reaches far beyond the current jurisdiction of the EPA and Corps and will cost the industry millions of dollars in lost revenue and time because of
New permit requirements
Permitting delays of 6 months to 2 years.
and mitigation to 162 to 278 millions of dollars due to streams and wetlands.
The interpretive rule is drafted to help, save, and preserve our resources. However, on January 29, 2015, the EPA and the Corps issued a memorandum of understanding to withdraw the Waters of the United States interpretive rule after hearing the concerns surrounding it.
permitting is also not intended to be a problematic area. An individual permit is custom crafted to the specific needs, while a general permit is a generic document appropriate for a specific type of activity that has similar environmental impacts. To gain an individual permit, a detailed form describing the activity must be submitted. A general permit can be obtained by completing a notice of intent to comply, which is a statement by the operator agreeing to abide by the terms of the permit.
Monitoring impacts to streams and wetlands is simply non-negotiable because of the benefits that these waters have to our communities. Streams and wetlands
Trap floodwaters,
Recharge groundwater supplies
remove pollution,
and provide a habitat for fish and wildlife.
Streams and wetlands are also economic drivers because of the important role that they play in hunting, fishing, agriculture, recreation, energy, and manufacturing.
The waters of the U.S. also offers tremendously more benefits than cost. The proposed rule will provide an estimated $388 to $514 million annually of benefits to the public. The proposed rule will also benefit businesses by increasing efficiency in determining coverage of the Clean Water Act.
Input from the agriculture industry helped shape this proposal. For the past 4 years, the EPA and the Corps have listened to important input from the agriculture community. Using the input from those discussions, the agencies then worked with the United States Department of Agriculture to ensure that concerns raised by the agriculture industry were addressed.
The agencies also hosted a series of discussions with state, local, and tribal leaders, says Nancy Stoner.
the Administrator of Water for the EPA. With the assistance of the Office of Management and Budget and the Small Business Administration, input from the business community was also received. Additionally, approximately 415,000 comments received during this public comment period were carefully considered. All of this public input helped to shape the EPA and the Corps' thinking on the jurisdiction of the Clean Water Act reflected in
The proposal did not offer states an opportunity to voice their opinion during the drafting. It was only during the publication of the proposed rule that the EPA reached out to states and other stakeholders in a series of meetings, speeches, and webinars seeking to explain the proposed rule and answer questions. The Energy and Environment Cabinet specifically states that
The division is concerned that the EPA and the Corps failed to appropriately engage the states in the development of the rule.
Pete Goodman says that while their efforts to reach out to states now is commendable, it does not support the assertion that public input was sought for the development of the proposed rule. He says,
The division recognizes that a sustained and diligent effort to work with states will be critical in developing and implementing an effective final rule, and recommends that the EPA engage its regulatory partner states to finalize rule language and develop the guidance necessary for implementing the new rule.
Christina Butts of the NCBA agrees and says that little input was gathered prior to the proposed rule being written and published. NCBA has participated in several meetings since the proposal was published to share concerns and how we have a different interpretation than the agency does with the words on their proposal.
So ask yourself,
Controversial?
detrimental,
Beneficial?
so many facts to be considered.
reduces confusion about Clean Water Act protection.
Creates further uncertainty, especially with jurisdictional waters.
Does not broaden coverage of the Clean Water Act.
does not do enough to clarify agricultural exemption,
Benefits outweigh costs.
Millions of dollars in lost revenue and time.
Helps states protect their waters.
states not involved in the drafting of the proposal for protection.
In the final analysis,
Are we asking the right questions to compare apples to apples?
or are we creating a ton of great space trying to pinpoint all of the right answers? The waters of the U.S.
For us or against us?
We will now entertain any questions that the judges may have at this time.
I think we're all for them.
Yeah. I'm just blown away. Can you imagine remembering? Woo. Oh my goodness.
You are Robert Bush's hero. He's back here just salivating. He loves this stuff.
Oh, you all did an awesome job. Wow.
You have good luck in your rest of your competition.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for bringing them down to share with us. They're just amazing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you want to do that real fast or are you going to wait around?
Did y'all come across the Indiana bats issues when y'all were doing the clean water stuff? We spent a lot of money on Indiana bats here in the city.
Say that a little louder. They didn't hear
Did y'all find out who the Corps of Engineers really are?
Couple of questions we have here if y'all just happen to do some more research.
Any questions? Any other?
I'd be afraid to ask a question.
Well, I'm just honored to have a picture taken with these young ladies. Where do you want us?
I was absent that day, shit.
Are any of you, were you all on a team?
No.
Nobody. So you're all seniors.
No,
We're juniors, but we'll be seniors.
Next year.
They're
everybody? Yes, before sorry.
Yeah, I know, really good.
You just tell me anytime you
Very
want. I'm flexible.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you all very
Okay, so the second thing, where was the Hardin County Chamber. Did anyone, no one came from the chamber? Okay, the Heritage Council. Mr. Skis? Wow.
Mayor, council members of the city of Elizabethtown, fellow Etonians. What an incomparable day of weather was on hand in downtown Elizabethtown this past second Saturday. Music was provided at Wild Earth Gallery, fantastic food from Rick's Grills on Wheels, doors were open to Kickin' Jay's, Walker Lane Boutique, Heartland Whole Health Foods, and my granddaughter's personal, Jen's Cake Stop, to name a few. Martha from Estate Sales reported a banner day for sales and customers. Everyone is widely welcome to the May 2nd Saturday that will have a Mother's Day theme. Hopefully there will be a good turnout for this next second Saturday. Kathy Helm relates that 9 vendors have paid to set up for every second Saturday this season. Many thanks to Kathy for her hard work in this event and working with the downtown businesses. Well, folks, the Tavern in the Garden event is again a go for this season. Thursday evenings, June through the end of September, musician, food, and vendors are already scheduled. Sponsors are signing and the schedule is finishing up. Thank you to LaDonna at Wild Earth Galleries for assistance to Kathy and the Heritage Council. This event was well received this past season. Of course, the Heritage Council partners and coordinates with many, such as the Brown Pusey House and the City of Elizabethtown, to make this event a success. Floral planters from Bluegrass Lawn and Garden will be arriving soon in this downtown area. This endeavor is financed through earnings raised from the Heritage Council events. Hugo Davis has been waiting on weather, and that's why they have not been done to this point. Well, here it is, mid-2015 going on 1985. You know, so much of the music you hear today is programmed electronic disco. You never get a chance to hear master bluesmen practicing their craft anymore. By the year 2025, the music today, known as the blues, will exist only in the classical record department of your public library. Except, that is, ladies and gentlemen, in downtown Elizabethtown, Saturday, May 23rd, for the 3rd year, Barbecue Blues and Bikes will make downtown Elizabethtown reverberate with the sound of the blues. 8 blues acts, all picked by Jim Pritchard, by the way, thank you, Jim, will be divided between 2 stages at the historic State Theater and the Brown Pusey House, and those stages will burst into the blues. Folks, front stage and monitor sound will erupt again through the efforts of Volcano Audio. Cliff Ski's sound company will again provide the back line. At a later date, I will inform him of what this year's show has cost in added equipment purchases. One group that does not get a thank you often, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Susan Gifford is the chair for this committee. Sarah Vaughn has worn out 3 telephone headsets in coordinating the vendors for this event. One group that does not always get the thank you are the roadies that move the equipment for the band, the ones with the gaffer's tape in their pocket and moving the amplifiers and setting up those drums. Thank you to Kevin Jaggers, Jim Kim and Mark Noblin, and Ed Pope. There is a very, very fine article in today's News Enterprise. There's also information to be found about the Blues and Barbecue event at bbqbluesfest.com. See you there. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Charlie.
And by the way, we were closely monitored through all our meetings from Ms. Sherry Murphy from Tourism. Of course, that monitoring was done from Montparnasse, Closerie de Lila. I think that was a cafe frequented by one Ernest Hemingway.
Thank you, Charlie. Gosh, Mr. Larry Vance. Come on down. Reverend Larry Vance.
After, can I leave these here? There's 9 sets for you all,
Wow.
so that you will, tell me I'll give you something.
Thank
I'll
you.
pass them
Wow.
down.
Hi, folks. I am Larry Vance, and I wanted to share with you all another event that will be taking place in Elizabethtown, right directly behind the pavilion at our park, and it's a Veterans Tribute, and it is a World War II reenactment of the breakout and pursuit. Now, all of you that in World War II, I can't even say that with a straight face, can I? But this reenactment, as I am handing out all the posters and all, will be distributed throughout our county. And I've had several other counties that want to make sure that I get information to them. This will be taking place again on the 23rd of May. And our introduction to it, or opening ceremony, will begin at 10 a.m. Everything is Eastern Standard Time. We will have out there just about every weapon that was used, American and German, in World War II. I have tanks coming. We have half tracks. I've got, again, each encampment, which will be the American and the German. I have the reenactors that are coming, which are the SS units, Hitler's units. Everyone will be in original uniform of the era. There will be interactive campsites for the American troops, for the German troops, and just to throw one in for some of us other warriors in Vietnam. I have a complete Vietnam unit that will be coming as with their static display of the tent setup and focusing on what it takes to keep America free, what it takes and how much is given by individuals who are ready and willing to give their life for their country. I certainly appreciate you all allowing me to coordinate this. And I just really appreciate you allowing me to pay for it. But that's a fact. I believe with all my heart. Folks, I came to Elizabethtown when I was 11 years old, and E-Town has been a blessing to me, going to Vietnam in the Marine Corps and in different combat roles. And out of 48 countries I traveled in, the only thing I could ever think about was getting back to E-Town. Do you all know that even in California, they do not know how to fry a hamburger? It's nothing like coming back home. Also, want you to understand that I think that it is very important for a community like ours, not for people like me who are willing to coordinate to come and ask you for contributions or ask you for money. It's those in this city that have watched the city grow, that have dedicated their lives to the city, to really come and say, will you allow us to do this on behalf of the city? Therefore, being committed to Elizabethtown is very near and dear to my heart. And once again, I appreciate you all allowing me to do this. And it is going to be awesome. Mayor, if you will remember the small one that we saw out of West Point, I thought, you know, that'd be neat. I can get those in. Well, I did not have any idea that I was going to be able to get as many weapons as tanks, as Patton impressionist with his car, with the folks. There are going to be stuff out here that I have never seen before. And to bring that to our city and to make certain that at Veterans Tribute, that you and I make certain that we never let anyone forget. The statements I have on the flyers, you will see focusing on, this is for history. This is to make certain that we get it right. And the actual combat, which will be 3 battles. Each battle, though, will be a reenactment of the same battle, and that is the Hedgerow Battle. This was right after the landing at Normandy down on the beach. And then there was a problem. To get into Normandy, they were going to have to go through hedgerow areas. The Hedgerow Battle, you know, in studying all about that, I did not realize that out of France, that those hedgerows, the beginning of them was with the Roman Empire when they were in charge. And many of our World War II military men men in battle in those days, they lost their life just trying to get through the passageways of those hedgerows. Well, I want to give you the history on the hedgerows. That's enough of that. But these folks that are coming, as I said, they will be in original equipment and all. Also, the interacting by going in to each one of the campsites. These guys, as a matter of fact, I have 2 historians coming, living historians that are going to be here to help us out. And they will be able to explain to the folks, this is where this weapon was used, this is why it was used. And the only thing I was requested from a lot of the reenactors, which now I'm up to be between 70 and 100 actual reenactors that will be here. So going to be a big crowd of just reenactors, and I believe giving honor to our World War II veterans is very, very important. Have entertainment. I have the Heartland Phillies that will be there at the beginning for the opening ceremony. And Glenn Rice. I don't know how many of you all have heard Glenn Rice, and I think he does 3 or 4. Yeah, well, he will be there at 4:30 on that Saturday for an hour concert. And I wanted to do that on behalf of my reenactors. I know that they will love it. It will all be patriotic. And I imagine everything will be completely crazy there. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than willing to answer what I can. But gosh, the only thing I can say is thank you for allowing me to do. Oh, the only thing that I forgot about what they requested, or can you get the hedgerow out behind the pavilion sprayed for ticks and chiggers? And I said, I think we can work on something there. So
They didn't like that natural part.
well, the natural part only could go so far, folks.
And this is Saturday.
It will be Saturday. Yes, ma'am, on the 23rd. Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be a big weekend.
Yes, it is. And knowing that this will only add to, oh, we will have all also antique vehicles there from the war period of 1939 through 45. Those civilian vehicles will be there also.
Thank you, Larry.
And again, there was so much, I couldn't list it all on here. And another thing, listening to the kids a while ago, there's no way in the world I was so awestruck on what they were capable of. I started reading everything that I had to make sure I did. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Larry. And you all know that Larry is doing this without asking the city for any money. Is that amazing? That it's so rare that that happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, it's Building Safety Month. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this, Ed? You're not going to read this whole proclamation, are you? Good.
No, earlier the mayor did sign a proclamation. May is Building Safety Month. It's something the city does recognize, and we have for a number of years. It's especially important to our department this year because one of our staff members, Jeff Camp, who is the city's code official or building official, is also president of the statewide Code Administrators Association. So that's nice that the mayor took the time to sign the proclamation and announce that. We'll hand out information to different people as they come in our office this month and stuff. So that's all I needed to say.
Thank you very much, Ed. And it is important for the safety of everybody. You know, not too long ago, we saw in the news about a stage falling. So even though we don't, lots of times we don't like all these rules and regulations, they're definitely important. Okay, we have two appointments tonight. First of all, we need to reappoint Gene Steiner to the Housing Authority for a term to expire on May the 19th, 2019. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Also, we would like to appoint Rhonda Joyce to the Housing Authority to fill the unexpired term of Dorothy Kathhammer. This term will expire on May the 19th, 2017. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, we have the second reading of two ordinances. First is ordinance number 4, 2015, annexing the property located at 4101 North Dixie Avenue, the property owned by Kenton Cole LLC. Motion to read the ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, being a second reading, in summary, this is ordinance number 04, 2015, which proposes to annex the property located at 4101 North Dixie Avenue into the city of Elizabethtown's boundaries, and it is taken pursuant to request by Kenneth Cole LLC and pursuant to their request and consent. This was read the first time on the 20th day of April, 2015.
Thank you. Motion to adopt the ordinance, and this is a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Fulkerson.
Second.
Oh, okay. Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
All right, now, Mr. Fulkerson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Okay, ordinance number 5, 2015, amending the text of the Elizabethtown zoning ordinance. Motion to read.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And summary, Mayor, and this is ordinance is rather lengthy, so this is strictly a summary as read last time. But this ordinance is ordinance number 05, 2015, and it was read for the first time on the 20th day of April, 2015. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend the text of the Elizabethtown zoning ordinance, which contains standards for the development of property within the corporate limits of Elizabethtown. The ordinance was adopted in June 2018. And sections have been amended on April 14, 2015 by the Elizabethtown Planning Commission in conformance with KRS 100. The amendments approved by ordinance number 05, 2015 relate to Chapter 1, which added definitions for retail liquor drink establishments. Chapter 2 allowed private clubs as a conditional use in residential zones and eliminated FAR as a lot criteria standard in all zones, revised language in various sections to assure consistency in signage standards, and in Chapter 6, revised language to assure accessible parking standards, which are consistent with the federal ADA guidelines. A complete copy of this ordinance can be viewed on the city's website or by contacting the office of the city clerk.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Okay, motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Okay, we have the first reading of ordinance number 6, 2015, closing the right-of-way of Sandalwood Court. Motion to read.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it ordained by the city of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, that from and after the passage, approval, and publication of this ordinance, that the right-of-way known as Sandalwood Court and more particularly described in Exhibits A and B is hereby closed to any and all vehicular traffic pursuant to KRS 82.405, subsections 1 and 2. The Elizabethtown City Council hereby makes the following findings of fact. A, the following property is the only property owner on and abutting said right-of-way known as Sandalwood Court to be closed, and that is RB-5 an LLC. B, written notice of the proposed closing was given to the property owner on and abutting said right-of-way known as Sandalwood Court. C, the property owner on and abutting said right-of-way known as Sandalwood Court to be closed has given their written consent and written and notarized consent to the closing. And pursuant to the findings of fact in KRS 82.405, the Elizabethtown City Council hereby determines that the right-of-way known as Sandalwood Court should be closed and that the owner on and abutting the right-of-way agrees to said closing. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents, sales, contracts, deeds, forms, applications, and statements to transfer said property to RB-5 LLC, the adjoining property owner. RB-5 LLC shall pay all expenses associated with the property transfer, survey, subdivision, and subdivision plat if necessary. Be it further ordained that the mayor of the city and or her designate being she is authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this ordinance, including but not limited to the execution and delivery of a quitclaim deed to the appropriate surrounding property, to the surrounding property owner. Read the first time this the 4th day of May, 2015.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Municipal Order number 17, 2015, approving the submission of the Community Development Block Grant 2015 and 16 Action Plan to the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development. Motion to read the order.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the Elizabethtown City Council desires to operate a community development program under the guidelines of the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, for a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program. And whereas the Elizabethtown City Council desires to comply with all statutes and laws relating to the operation of a program for the community. And whereas the Department of Planning and Development has conducted public hearings to gain input from the citizens of the community. And whereas the city has prepared the 2015-2016 action plan and consolidated plan in conformance with the procedures as outlined by the HUD. Now be it ordered by the Elizabethtown City Council that the mayor or her designate is hereby directed to submit the annual action plan for 2015 through 2016 and the 5-year consolidated plan to HUD for approval. Further be it ordered that the City Council agrees to comply with all federal requirements of the CDBG program as outlined in the certification section of the plan. Read, adopted, and approved this the 4th day of May, 2015.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Motion to adopt the order.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Municipal Order number 18, 2015, accepting the bid from McNutt Construction for the American Legion Park Pool Project in the amount of $4,354,000 contingent upon deduction, reducing total of construction to $4,005,827.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
At a regular meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below, a motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Be it ordered that the City of Elizabethtown accepts the bid from McNutt Construction for the American Legion Pool Project in the amount of $4,354,000. Approval being contingent upon the attached project deductions proposed by McNutt Construction, reducing the total construction to $4,005,827. Be further ordered that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order. Read, adopted, and approved this the 4th day of May, 2015.
Motion to adopt the order.
So moved.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I say one thing here?
Absolutely.
The vote on this, not to put a damper on the party or whatever, as far as hopefully you all agreeing with the proceeding with this, because we do think it is necessary if we want to get the pool construction started. But I just wanted to point out to you, we've gotten the construction amount to this point There will be an additional cost and expense for testing, soil testing and some material testing. So we don't have that number yet. Those proposals are out. We don't have that number. And another source by which we'll deal with, obviously with your all's assistance in that, is any additional design fee that the consultants may come back with for additional things that were added after the original proposal, which is specifically is the Lazy River, and there was a couple other little things I think that were added. So expect for us to have additional discussion on that, and just wanted to be sure that didn't surprise you with that at some point later on.
We'd love to have those discussions with that company.
You would love to. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, motion to adopt the order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Under city council information, we will start the budget meetings a week from today. And if there's no other information, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Get them. Mary told me.
Word got relayed. You know how the old. I wasn't. I looked up and I saw the car and I hit like.